let's look at the natural way, the scientific way, how you can decrease the risk of cardiovascular disease. So what do we need? We said that this endothelial lining in your arteries is very fragile. It's only one cell thick. And you want that the flexibility of it is strong. So we need collagen. So collagen, of course, you can take it in the supplements. You have seen me, I use elastin, which is from the fish bones. I use collagen from the bovine bones and joints, and hyaluronic acid. So these are the three parts that I mix into pancakes or drinks or any food. So to improve the collagen, you need vitamin C, zinc, and of course, all the amino acids. And then it will increase the flexibility. So even, for example, if the heavy LDL is traveling in the bloodstream and it's hitting into it, it's not going to cause the bleeding. Maybe you have seen that when you like hit yourself, if you are bruising easily, it means that your vascular system is not strong enough because it's bleeding quickly and then it's causing the bruises. What you also need, like vitamin C, is also increasing the vasodilation. So we have vasoconstriction, where it constricts it and increases the blood pressure. And vasodilation is, it relaxes these muscles in the arteries and it lowers the blood pressure. So that's what you want, especially when you go to sleep. And magnesium may do that as well. So it eases the vasoconstriction, so it relaxes you. Then you can eat, for example, nitrates in beetroot, drinking beetroot juice with lemon. So again, this lowers the blood pressure. So does, for example, the garlic. So garlic is very healthy, but for people who have low blood pressure, it can actually make you even faint. And then you want amino acids. So amino acids are building blocks of protein. So protein is an animal product. Of course, we have protein even in beans and lentils, but it's not all 23 amino acids. So we need carnitine. Maybe if you go to the gym, you have seen like these shakes in the gym always have L-carnitine, because what it makes, it speeds up the fat burning. So this fatty acid oxidation, yeah. But I don't recommend the shakes in the gym. It's better to take it separately. And lysine, L-lysine. So not only it helps to improve the immune system because it blocks the replication of the virus in the cells, but it also helps to recover the muscles. So athletes are using it very often. And then taurine, and taurine is actually made from cysteine, and cysteine is the sulfur smell. So you know when you eat eggs, and actually, for example, even broccoli, it has sulfur, and that builds taurine. So that's what you can take even from the plant-based products. And you could also use the supplement, it's called NAC, and that is a powerful antioxidant. Then we need CoQ10. We said we need it for the mitochondria, and this is in fatty fish, seeds, olive oil, and chicken. And then you need vitamin D, that is a steroid hormone, because it lowers the stiffness of the arteries, and it's involved in like 500 enzymatic reactions and also in the immune system, and it's anti-inflammatory. So you take this as a supplement, your doctor will prescribe it, or you can buy it in any pharmacy, and it's actually quite difficult to overdose. So I don't even believe that it would happen to you. But anyway, you would want to do the blood test results and see where are you with your vitamin D levels, because low vitamin D levels are causing, for example, even depression and hormonal imbalance. Garlic I mentioned, and then pine bark, you have enzogenol, which is a powerful antioxidant from the pine bark, and it decreases the risk of thrombosis. So what is thrombosis? Thrombus. So when you have inflammation in your arteries, because these macrophages are eating everything and the platelets come, other white blood cells are clearing everything, and some parts of this blood can create a thrombus, and then this thrombus can travel in the bloodstream and block arteries, so it can cause stroke, heart attack, and so on. So pine bark and ZINZINO has been shown in studies to decrease the risk of thrombosis. Now let's look at another powerful ingredient that you can take every single day. And I recommend ZINZINO oil. That's what I take now. And I actually give it even to my children. So you can do the blood test for free if you buy the product, obviously. So I bought the product, and now I did one test, and the second free test I will do in 4 months. So why, what is the mechanism of the omega-3? How can that decrease the cholesterol? Remember that we have omega-3 and omega-6. So omega-3, it's basically the unsaturated fat, which means that it has some double bonds that can be broken down. So the structure is not rigid, it's fluid. Then we have saturated fat like butter, coconut fat. And you can see it's saturated, it's full, it's rigid. So even in our phospholipid bilayer, this cholesterol is rigid. Yeah? So omega-6 is everything that is like rigid and strong, and omega-3 is the fluid one. And they use the same enzymes. So they are competing in between each other. Nowadays, we eat way too many omega-6. And you can say, but I eat seeds and nuts. But 70% of that is omega-6. Only some is omega-3. And it's actually not the active omega-3. It has 4 steps before you activate it. And this might not even happen if you don't have other building blocks that help the enzymes to break it down. So omega-3, when we talk about EPA and DHA, is already the active form in this oil. And it basically helps the vasodilation. So it opens the blood vessels, it relaxes this endothelium, and it lowers the blood pressure. Then it prevents the blood from clotting, because omega-3, and in many studies this has been shown, is thinning the blood. So you don't want the blood to be this thick syrup so that your myocardium has to squeeze hard. You want it to be fluid and thin, so it can flow freely and your muscle finally gets some break. Then omega-3 is also down-regulating the gene expression of inflammatory NF-κB. So this is like a factor that is increasing the inflammation. So basically omega-3 and also vitamin D, they can suppress this, so that the inflammation is not coming. So it reduces the inflammation. And then it can also lower the triglycerides by breaking down the fatty acids. So FA, it's fatty acids, for the fuel. Because maybe you are not a hybrid car now. Maybe you are mostly operating on using the glucose as a source of energy. Once you start to do the intermittent fasting, and maybe even caloric restriction, you will be using the fatty acids, the fat, from the stores that you have on your body. So omega-3 is actually going to help you to lower the triglycerides by really preferring to utilize the fat as a source of energy. And of course, it's also increasing the insulin sensitivity, because it will upregulate the receptors. So remember, it basically puts even more receptors on the cells so that the sources of energy can enter into the cell, into the mitochondria, and be turned into energy. So you boost your energy levels. And it can also prevent the plaque building in your arteries. Why? Again, I love all these mechanisms that I researched for you. It's by keeping the lining smooth, because there is no inflammation, and because it's fluid, and because it has the collagen build up, it's strong and it does not get damaged. And then this plaque cannot build on it. And of course, it's neuroprotective, because omega-3 have these protectins which are anti-inflammatory. So you saw in the previous slides that in our brain, the neurons have this insulation of the fat. And if that gets damaged or oxidized, it can cause neurodegenerative disease. So it can cause Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's, or for example, multiple sclerosis. So now you must be totally, but totally sold out on the omega-3 from ZINZINO. Why do I like it from ZINZINO? Because they also have vitamin D and vitamin E and polyphenols from olive oil in this mixture. And it's very easy to swallow it. You can actually mix it into drinks. So it's very good. So here is a summary of how you can rebalance the omega-3 and omega-6 with food. So we know that nuts and seeds are high in omega-3 and omega-6. So which ones are actually high in omega-3? It's walnuts, because it actually looks like a brain, and flax seeds. So flax seeds are also phytoestrogen. So they are rebalancing the hormone estrogen that is lowering with the age. So perimenopausal and menopausal women should definitely include the flaxseed into their diet. And you know that I recommend the flaxseed flour that I happily make for my clients at home in my super machine Vitamix. And then omega-6 is everywhere, basically, in every other nut. So Brazil nuts, pecans, pine nuts are really high in omega-6, sunflower seeds. I actually don't eat sunflower seeds at all. And then you should include oily fish. So fresh salmon, preferably wild salmon, because it has like less fat, but still has good amount of omega-3. Mackerel, sardines, trout. You want to use olive oil, preferably the prima spremuta, the first squeeze of the olive oil. That is very high in polyphenols. It's powerful antioxidants that are catching the free radicals. And then, for example, you can eat avocado because it has a fat-soluble vitamin E, which is also antioxidant. And then when you are using saturated fat, I would recommend, for example, coconut oil. So when I make pancakes, I fry them always in a coconut oil. And MCT oil is basically product from a coconut oil, and it's used in a ketogenic diet. So they, for example, make bulletproof coffee, which is coffee with 1 spoon of the olive oil, because this does not break the fast, but it speeds up the metabolism, and it's used by the brain cells as the source of fuel. So you can try that as well. And it's anti-inflammatory, it's anti-everything. It's actually antimicrobial. So the research showed that it can like kill candida that is causing bloating and like other issues. H. pylori that is in the stomach, damaging the lining and blocking the absorption of B12. And Streptococcus aureus, that is on your skin, and when you have a damage on the skin, it can actually enter inside and cause the inflammation. So you could actually even use the coconut oil on your body if you, for example, have psoriasis or any other dermatitida. And you can use butter, because butter is high in CLA, which is a bad fat burner, and it has butyrate, which is a preferred source of energy for our microbiota in the intestine. And it also is carries the fat-soluble vitamins, vitamin A and vitamin D. And ghee, it's very popular in India. It's a clarified butter, and it's lactose-free. So you can buy it in every shop. So this would be really good source of omega-3 and omega-6. So how can you rebalance your omega-3 and omega-6 with food? So here will be some ideas of what you can cook. So in case you are not trying to lose the weight, you only want to lower the cholesterol levels, you can have, for example, overnight buckwheat oats. So we are basically fermenting them, and you add there some nuts and cinnamon. If you want to lose the weight, you would most probably want to stick to eggs, pesto, avocado, lemon zest, and so on. And you can, of course, also make like almond and buckwheat pancakes with walnuts, or like walnut dressing and berries and so on. It makes me hungry even just like reading it all. And for lunch or dinner, butternut and coconut milk soup. And I filmed the video for you. You can watch it. Lentils with tomato soup, halloumi salad with kale, or steak with parsnip chips, or fish burgers. So this is like a foodie menu. It's not going to be ready in 5 minutes, but it's definitely going to satisfy your appetite. So let me know, which recipe did you try?